Hello everyone, Gabriel Swaggart, grandson of the renowned evangelist Jimmy Swaggart, has long carried the weight of both privilege and pressure as he continues the family's legacy of preaching at Family Worship Centre. But in recent days, his name has been thrust into the spotlight after a fiery moment during a sermon where he turned directly to critics and boldly declared, "You're jealous of my calling." A statement that immediately set the Christian world ablaze, sparking endless debates, passionate defenses, harsh criticisms, and countless conversations about faith, humility, leadership, and the role of generational ministries in modern church life. To truly understand why this moment matters, one has to step back and look at the broader context. Gabriel, like his grandfather and father before him, was born into ministry, raised under the glaring spotlight of public scrutiny, and expected to carry forward a movement that has touched millions around the globe through broadcasts, crusades, and gospel music. While many celebrate his boldness and passion, others have long whispered doubts, questioning whether his rapid rise is a result of divine calling or simply family inheritance. And it is within this tension that Gabriel's recent outburst must be understood. For months, other pastors, online commentators, and even fellow churchgoers have criticized him, some saying his sermons lack theological depth, others claiming his leadership style is too authoritative, and still others accusing him of leveraging his grandfather's name instead of carving out his own spiritual identity. Instead of ignoring the criticism, Gabriel decided to confront it directly, using the pulpit as his platform, reminding the congregation that envy has always been present whenever God elevates someone, pointing to biblical examples like Joseph, whose brothers resented his dream, David, who was hunted by Saul out of jealousy, and even Jesus, who faced constant opposition from religious leaders who couldn't accept his authority. His words, fiery, unapologetic, and deeply personal, struck a nerve, dividing believers into two camps: those who cheered his boldness as a necessary defense of God's work in his life, and those who felt his tone crossed into arrogance, suggesting that he sees himself as untouchable. Supporters argue that too many people in ministry today are quick to tear down others rather than celebrate God's anointing. And Gabriel's call-out was a reminder that jealousy often masquerades as concern or discernment, but is in truth a sign of spiritual insecurity. Critics, however, caution that labeling all opposition as jealousy is a dangerous defense mechanism, one that could silence legitimate questions about accountability, stewardship, and the direction of his ministry. Social media, as always, amplified the moment, with clips of Gabriel's declaration spreading rapidly, sparking hashtags like #jealous of my calling and Swaggart legacy, turning his words into a viral debate across Christian circles worldwide. His wife, Jill Swaggart, later came to his defense, sharing that their family has endured decades of relentless criticism, gossip, and suspicion simply because of their name, and while it would be easier to retreat into silence, their commitment to ministry requires them to push forward boldly, even when misunderstood. That statement only fueled more discussion, as many began re-examining the concept of generational ministry, asking whether God truly calls entire families into leadership lines, or if nepotism is at play in church structures. What cannot be denied is the passion and conviction Gabriel displayed, standing firm in his belief that his role is not the product of chance or family politics, but of divine destiny. This moment also underscores a bigger issue in the church today: the struggle between old and new, legacy and individuality, tradition and progress. Some believe Gabriel represents the next wave of Pentecostal preachers, carrying forward the fire and boldness that defined past generations, while others see him as a figure unwilling to humble himself enough to embrace accountability. Either way, his declaration, "You're jealous of my calling," is not just a defensive remark. It has become a flashpoint, a defining statement that will shape how both his supporters and detractors view him for years to come. Like many before him, Gabriel is discovering that leadership in ministry is never just about sermons and worship. It is also about navigating jealousy, criticism, and misunderstanding while remaining steadfast in one's conviction that God has truly given the assignment. His response as confidence rooted in faith or pride, cloaked in biblical justification. The truth is that this controversy forces the entire church community to reflect deeply on how envy, competition, and judgment have infiltrated ministry, and what it truly means to walk humbly yet boldly in one's God-given calling. As the dust settles, Gabriel Swaggart stands both embattled and emboldened, a man determined to carry forward his mission despite the critics, reminding everyone watching that the calling of God, though often misunderstood, cannot be stolen, manufactured, or diminished by anyone's jealousy. And that, perhaps, is the true heart of his message. Thanks for watching.